Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are in the world, or whatever time you'll be watching this video. So, guys, I've been meaning to, make my observations on Boo's video regarding the infamous bed, but, life has been lifing. So, let me just get through some of the points that I took down and see if I can understand what Boo is saying and just give my opinion on some of the points. Now, a major contention in their argument is or was around the bed that, Boo took out on layaway the base of the bed, and then Alicia did some, promotion to get a free mattress. However, they were already sleeping on a bed in Boo's sister's house. And when they were ready to leave, the sister had said that they could take the bed. But Alicia didn't want that bed, and Boo was okay with taking the bed. Now, Boo, you wanted to take the bed that was being offered instead of a new one, as you said that you guys were just starting out. Now, personally, if I was in that position as a wife and myself and my husband, we were moving out into a new place by ourselves, I would want to have something new and I would want us to go with our own bed. If both of you had bought that bed at your sister's house and then she didn't want to move with that bed, I would say that she was unreasonable for not wanting to move with a bed that you guys had bought and had in an old place. And now you guys were moving into a new place. But moving into a new place, us Jamaicans, sometimes we're very superstitious. They say, you can't move into a new place with old things because you don't want to carry all of the crosses with you. Just like how we wouldn't move with dirty clothes because we don't want any crosses to come in a new place with us. Yeah, so in all honesty, well, personally, I wouldn't want to move with the bed from your sister's house either, right? And I did make a video before this going over the divorce, the final divorce agreement between both of you, where I did say that when you guys broke up, that she did make a video to say that, you left her to sleep on the floor, but you took the bed base and she kept the mattress. No, I understand and I agree with you taking the bed base because when you guys went out and to buy the bed, number one, in North America, not a lot of North Americans would go out and buy things cash, and especially expensive stuff like that, like a bed. For it to pay $1,000 for a bed, but a lot of people would take out those stuff on layaway. So there's nothing in taking out things on layaway, and then, yes, it's gonna go on your credit. And then, she wanted to have a new mattress, not just a free one. She wanted to have a new mattress. So she was using her head to say, okay, instead of you guys going into a lot of debt to have a new bed frame and a new mattress, then she's using her brain to say, okay, as a content creator, you guys can, do promotions and get a free mattress, which she did get. So you have a brand new bed, both bed frame and our bed base and mattress. Now, in terms of you getting the bed, yes, in your final divorce agreements, where they said that each person is in charge of their own debt, and because you took the bed out on your credit line, so you would be stuck with that debt, then I agree with you keeping the bed base and her going, she could go her way with the mattress that she didn't have to pay for, because it wouldn't be fair for you to take out the bed frame or the bed base on your line of credit. You guys split, and if she got both of them and went about her merry way, and then you would still have to be paying for that while she would be, basically living on it. So yeah, I agree with you. You guys could, that split where you took the bed base and her going with the mattress. I am in agreement with that after going over your divorce, final divorce agreement. But initially, anyone would think that okay, it was you and your wife and you guys, basically bought a bed together. So depending on where you're going, you could have left her with it. But going over the final agreement, yeah, I don't see anything wrong with you having your bed base. And another point, you said that, you guys were just starting out, but you were already established overseas. So I don't understand that part where you said that you guys were just starting out and you had no money. I would think that for you, being there for quite a while and, you had a business and you had said that before you guys got together, you had a house that you partnered with someone, and then you eventually you sold that house. So what happened to the proceeds of that house where you said that you guys were starting out? Is it that you used those monies to swoon her, to let her think that you have money, to give her this false impression that, oh, this guy overseas, is interested in me and wants to be in a relationship with me and has his money? I mean, number one, she's a lot younger than you, and, and you go to Jamaica. So a lot of younger women would be attracted, especially if the gentleman is older. And honestly, no young woman, much younger woman isn't really going to be interested in a significantly older man unless they think that he has something to offer. And you, based on, I guess how you portray yourself, she thought that she could be living a soft life, based on how you were treating her. So if you didn't have the funds to give her a soft life, then you shouldn't have been putting your hat where you could reach it. And then those funds that you got from selling your house, you could have even to say put that towards buying something else for yourself. So if you had a house, a big house, and you sold the house, that money that you got, you could have used it as a down payment for maybe like a smaller, like a condo or something that that you could afford, instead of using it to swoon and wine and dine her for her to look more favorably on you. Okay? So where you said that, you guys were just starting out and you had no money, I don't understand that part. And she is coming from Jamaica. Most people, unless you had a business back home, most people living in Jamaica, yes, you'll be living okay based on what you have. But then in terms of moving overseas, I don't think that she would have had a lot of money per se, unless she was a business person and had her own, business back in Jamaica and then decided to come overseas. In the video also, you said that you became a part of the channel, which is the Alicia Kim channel, which is another bone of contention for you, because you were saying that you had no access to any of the funds or the accounts in which the monies from that account went. But in your divorce agreement, then you were claiming, for some of the funds from this channel. But yes, you said you became a part of the channel, which reinforced that she did have the channel before you. And in my previous video, I did say that you were entitled to some of the funds from that video, because if she had only 1,500 subscribers, and then after you guys got married and started producing content, then the channel subscribers went up to over 118,000. Then that was based on the content that you did do together. So you did, you should have gotten some of the proceeds from the revenue from that channel. You also said that you guys spoke about kids and that she was okay with your current situation. Well, now you said that, you further, she basically, yeah, she was okay with your situation. And then you further went on that if needs be that you could indeed father a child, it would just take more work. But guess what? Lots of people change their minds in regards to children, especially women. You have a lot of men, when you go into the relationship, the man will tell you no, they don't want any kids. Most times they don't really change their mind, but a woman will go in a relationship and say, okay, I don't want any kids. But a woman is more likely to change her mind about having kids than a gentleman. So maybe she just changed her mind regarding having kids, or based on your situation, maybe she didn't think that she would want to go through all that hassle. But then again, especially, she did have a child after you guys broke up. So we don't know the fine details between that because none of us was in the relationship with you guys. But who knows, maybe that was also a part of the contention in your guys' decision to break up. Now, you have an issue with Alicia having a close relationship with her mother. There is nothing wrong with kids, and especially daughters having close relationship with their mothers. Lots of kids have a close relationship with their mothers, and it is understandable if you thought that her mother was a strong part of her getting involved with you to go overseas. Well, that is your belief, and nobody can bash you for your belief. But yeah, there are people, girls and boys, or who really have very close relationship with their parents and will tell their parents every and anything. And maybe if she went to her mom and told her mom that, there's this guy who likes me and he lives overseas, and, your interest in her, and that you probably would want to, potentially get married to her and take her overseas. Yeah, any mother would be supportive of their kids, maybe to caution her to say, well, you have to look on the age difference, and, no parent, well, a parent can tell the kids what they think they should do, but if a child's mind is set, then the child's mind is set. So if Alicia told her mom that she really likes you and that you really seem to be a good guy, the mother may say, well, if you're sure and you want to pursue that relationship, then you can go ahead. So I wouldn't think that in that case you would say the mother would be in agreement with her to use you then, if that is how you're thinking. No, the mother would caution the child, and if the child says, no, this is who I want to spend the rest of my life with, the mother could climb the walls of Jericho if she's against it. If the mother was against it and Alicia was still for you, that would cause a fracture in their relationship. But the mother is a supportive mother, and I'm sure she said, well, if this is the way you feel about him and you want to start a life with him, then all I can do is offer you the best. So I wouldn't think that, you said that her mother is in league with her using you. I wouldn't term it as that. But again, as I said, if this is your belief, no one can bash you for your belief, because you are in the situation and this is how you feel, right? You also stated that she didn't call your family with the issues you had. But in the same sentence, you said that she called your son and your friend. Isn't that contradictory? Then she is talking to your family members, those that she would think would be closer to you, in trying to rectify the problems that you were having. Unless you really meant that she should have called your sister. Maybe she just wasn't comfortable with your sister, especially since you guys were living in the sister's house, and for whatever reason, she would just wasn't comfortable speaking to your sister. But she did, connect with your son and your friend. You also stated that the house you were living in was joint with your sister. You sold your share when Alicia was coming. Again, why did you have to sell your share for when Alicia was coming? And is it that you use that money to make her think that you had money? Again, as I said, instead of investing in somewhere else, maybe a condo or an apartment or something smaller that you could afford. You also stated that when other viewers and stuff, they were calling her a gold digger, that you came out against them and you were defending her. Yes, that was your job as her husband, for you to come out and defend your wife from people who were labeling her as a gold digger. And as a husband, you are your wife's protector. So I don't think you should be griping about that fact now, in stating that you were defending her. You and her was in the relationship. People on the outside will only see the snippets of life that you guys show on your vlogs and stuff, and everyone makes their assumptions based on what you put out there. A lot of it may be right, a lot of it may also be wrong. But if you came out defending your wife, knowing that she wasn't a gold digger, then yes, as a husband, that is your job, to protect and defend your wife from people who are saying negative things about her. And then you're saying that you saw signs of her being a gold digger. I'm still waiting on you to tell us what signs you're talking about that said that she was a gold digger, because up till now, the only thing I can think of is your contention with her and the monies and the accounts for the YouTube channels. I don't consider that being a gold digger, right? A gold digger meaning that, well, you also stated that she said that men must take care of their women. Yes, men must take care of their women, but also you do have relationships where the relationship is 50-50. You do have some relationships where the husband pays for everything for the wife, and her money basically goes to doing mainly what she does, and the husband takes care of everything around the house and whatever. They do kind of have those relationships. So maybe depending on how you were spending and lavishing money on her, maybe she got accustomed to that kind of living. So when all of a sudden now you're telling her that she needs to do this and needs to do that, then without you guys having a proper conversation before you got married, then I would say, okay, maybe that's what you were thinking. But going in a relationship, everyone has to have the conversations and lay the ground rules, what your expectations are before you delve into marriage. And you have had 3 marriages before, so you should, you are more versed and experienced in that aspect. Then you should be able to have that conversation with her on what the expectations were. So it just seems that you guys didn't have discussions around your finances, because this seems to be the crux of most of your argument. And again, as I said, yeah, when she said the man must pay the bills, that was her feelings. And if you wanted to go 50-50 in the relationship, again, a discussion on finances must have been had, before you guys plan on getting married. So you can't just go in blindly. And then once you're in the marriage, then that is when you want to start laying down ground rules and stuff. So everyone needs to be, on the same page. Now, you stated that you I guess, had some feelings or heard some things, and then you went to the bank, right? You didn't see the person who you really wanted to see. So obviously you had some sort of connection in the bank. However, you did see the bank manager, and then you were explaining to the bank manager what was happening to you, and then the bank manager took you in the office and prayed for you and all of that. Well, that's good. At least the bank manager, you know, he he liked you enough to pray for you and to, emphasize with your situation. Then you went back to the bank another day and saw the person who you really wanted to see. So who you know will get the information for you. Now that part of it is a bit shady, I think, because you if you go to the bank, you can go to any teller to get any information that you want. Now, you said that when you went to the bank, right? Alicia had two accounts, visible accounts that you saw. One with 29,000 and another one with 8,000. Then you told your friend at the bank that you wanted to take out some money and that you wanted to start with the bigger account first. Now, you withdrew half of the money from that account, and you said that once the transaction went through, then all the other accounts went blank. Well, that could be a trigger. Number one, that maybe there is and then once you withdrew all that money, you also got a notification. Well, obviously you kept saying that she was hiding money from you and she had money that she wasn't spending. You had to be spending all that money. But then obviously you had access to the account, because once the money was withdrawn from the account, you got a notification. So you had access to that money. So if you wanted to spend on stuff, you could, for the apartment or for your house or day-to-day life, then you and her could have had the conversation and you use that account, because obviously it was a joint account. So if you got a notification, then it was a joint account. Now you stated that as soon as half of the money was withdrawn, then everything went blank. That she moved all the money. But it would seem that you wanted to steal the money from her, because you said that the two accounts that she had, and then you told your friend that you want some money, you want half of the big one, half of the small one. Obviously, you and her didn't have any conversation. So even though it's a joint account, you would still have a conversation with your partner before removing money, especially such large amounts. So really, it seems as if you were stealing, because you didn't have even though it's a joint account, you didn't have a conversation and you went to, withdraw a large sum of money, right? That was just, that to me, and anyone else, that just looks like stealing. And then you were saying that you don't pay attention to the accounts. Why? If you were aware of the accounts, why didn't you pay attention? You can't blame anyone for you not paying attention to the accounts. Obviously you had to be there for your name to be added to the accounts. So you knew that they were there. So then the onus was up to you. And it's modern day now. Everything is all online. You log into the account and monitor the account. And again, as I said, you got a notification when you withdrew from the larger account. So obviously there were joint accounts which you had access. Now, you also said that when you went home, that, well, you noticed also, well, you said your friend at the bank also told you that she had a secret account there. That is a no-no, right? That employee could get in trouble, because even though she is your wife, as long as that's a single personal account, your name isn't on that account, you should not have any access or information on that account. So that person could get into some trouble. That's a federal crime. right? To giving you information, regardless of the fact that she was your wife at the time. Now, that is shady. Now, you are saying that, you spent all your money and she saved hers. Again, you had access to the accounts that the YouTube monies went into. You were joint on the account. And again, if you had started with her having a soft life where you were paying for everything, then she will just continue living the soft life. But you guys, needed to have that financial discussion on what is expected, where the finances are concerned and how the bills are to be paid and all of that. Then she probably wouldn't have an issue or a negative reaction to when you, out of the blue, start asking her to spend money. You also stated that, you have that food card that you gave her and said, she only picked up stuff for herself on a monthly basis and maybe she will pick up one or two things for you. Again, that is your somewhat, is it that social services card, or whatever card that is for you. If she only picked up stuff for herself, well, that is selfish, but generally I would think that the wife would be using that card to offset some of the money that is spent for household stuff. And you did say that she got you a credit card, a points credit card, but then you were saying that you didn't get any benefit from it, so you're spending the money and she is getting all the points from the card. Is it that she's only using the card to buy stuff only for her, or is it that both of you get benefits when she buys the things for you? Again, if she only bought stuff for herself, well, yes, that would seem, selfish, but it's just hard to believe that your guys are in a relationship and she's only doing, stuff for herself and not for both of you. But again, we were not in the relationship, so we can only go by what you said. You also were stating that, from she left Jamaica to come to the US, that, you were providing for her. You're her husband. That was a part of your job, to provide for her. That would be understood, right? You also stated that, when you went home and you noticed that she wiped out all the money from your business accounts. So is that she had access to your business accounts too, for her to wipe out all the money from your business accounts? So if that is the case, then if she noticed that you took out half of the money from one of the accounts, then, she took back money from the business accounts that you had together. So both of you, if that is the case, and both of you stole from each other, which you initiated the first attack. You were saying that, she called the cops on you because she wanted you to have, or she wanted to have something on file, because she knew that at that time that the relationship was over, and she wanted to have a police file on you because she knew that, back in the day you went through something else. That part I don't believe. Because you said that you didn't even know that she wasn't in the house, and that then she came back with cops and she was crying. Both of you, she's not gonna be crying just like that. There must have been something that went down for her to call the cops on you. You're not saying that you did anything wrong or you contributed to anything going wrong in the relationship. I think you should be honest and, have some accountability that you played a part in the breakdown of your relationship. Nothing is ever 100% the other person's fault. So I think you should be honest enough to say, well, yes, I could have done this different, I could have done that different, or we could have done this, we should have done this. But you're basically putting everything on Alicia and saying that she used you. No, she didn't use you. You guys were in a relationship. Unfortunately, it didn't work out and you guys broke up. That is the way life is. Not everything is going to last forever. And unfortunately, this is not your first time at the rodeo. So you know that, relationships do end. And honestly, based on my observation, if this is your fourth time around and the relationship doesn't work out, you're the common denominator in all of this. I'm not saying that you are to be blamed for everything because, one hand can clap and both of you were in the relationship, right? So the problem is it stemmed from both of you. You're stating that also that when you took the bed or when you took your stuff, you took everything that you could, and you said that you left the stainless steel band that she gave you and that you basically laid it down, gently. No, no. Even Stevie Wonder could see that that part isn't true. Because if you're going to resort to taking all the food and even the laundry detergent, and this is obviously a bitter breakup, you're not going to gently put down the wedding band that she gave you. You're going to throw it because you are angry. And to me, it just seems like all of this that you're coming out with, it seems as if you want to basically put her in the crosshairs of immigration. Because every time you keep saying that she used you for the relationship, she didn't love you and she only wanted to come overseas, all of this that you keep repeating, it's as if you want immigration to come to her to say that she came to Florida or she got married to you under false pretenses. Well, 6 years under false pretenses and you guys were living together, that would be hard to prove. If you guys were really in a genuine relationship, yeah, that would be hard to prove. And for you, to me, it seems as if you are trying to build a case to go to immigration, to state that the relationship wasn't genuine. But trust me, immigration is much, much smarter than that. Right? And why is it that, every time you and her had an argument, you kept taking away the car that you gave her? I mean, come on. That is not husband-like. If you and your wife had an argument and every time you have the argument, you take back the car. That's okay. Are you Mr. Take it back? That is not right. If you have an argument, you gave her a car, yeah, she can still go about her business. If you guys are still in a relationship, and if you bought a car, for her, come on. But I understand that you are hurt, and to me, based on how everything is, under 1 year of you guys being married, you filed for a divorce, right? And then that was taken back. Then you filed for a divorce again. I believe that you were using the marriage as some form of control over her, to show her dominance, to say, I hold the cards. I brought you here into the US for you to get your papers. So if you don't follow what I say, what I do, I can always take back, or divorce you, and then you will be sent back, especially, knowing that she had a conditional green card in the first place. Initially it would be the 2-year conditional green card. And then it seems as if, you brought her, used her, and then you wanted to discard her, right? But you were using some form of control to manipulate her, to try to get her to do what you want her to do. And I don't think you really intended for this second divorce to go through. Maybe you were trying again because you know that at this time, it was coming closer for her to get her 10-year green card. And you were trying to use this to bully her into doing what you wanted her to do. But she wasn't falling for it this time. She got a little bit stronger, right? So you were using intimidation and bullying tactics and form of control in, you know, having her do what you want her to do, but it didn't work out. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for you. So my opinion is, you know, maybe try get some counseling as well, and just, you know, continue on with your life instead of, you know, stressing out over this now, because obviously she has moved on with her life, you know, building a new family. So, you know, for you, just do the same. That's my opinion. Thank you guys for listening, and please remember to like, share, subscribe to this video, and let me know your thoughts. Catch you on the next one.